All right, what is up, everybody? We're just going to do a little thought experiment today instead of a verse of the day because this has been something I've been thinking about for the past couple days. So, a lot of people want to say, well, I think Jesus was a great moral teacher. I think he had a lot of good ethical teachings. I like how he talked about love and all this stuff. I just don't think he was the Son of God, right? And that comes from kind of like a naturalism. Like, I don't really think any miracles can happen. But there's an issue with that point of view. And the issue with that point of view is that Jesus does not give us the opportunity to look at him as just a good moral teacher. Jesus says, before Abraham was, I am. Jesus pardons people from their sins. He forgives their sins. Jesus says, I and the Father are one. Jesus says, truly I tell you, unless you eat the flesh and drink the blood of the Son of Man, you have no life in you, right? So Jesus, he is crucified because he's claiming to be God. And so Jesus claims to be God. Okay, so what do we call someone who claims to be God and isn't God? Well, that's a crazy person, a psychopath, whatever you want to call it, right? So there's two options only for Jesus. There's no third option. Either Jesus was telling the truth and was truly God, or he was a psychopath. Okay, so that draws a direct line down the middle, right? Separating the wheat from the chaff. So we have this side, okay, I believe he was the Son of God, which is a logical view, right? And then we have this other view. But let's think about what that means, right? Okay, so Jesus was a crazy guy. Okay, first of all, that doesn't really make sense because he had some amazing teachings. He had the best teachings that anyone had ever heard. He was gathering huge crowds of people to follow him. He also performed miracles. So that also doesn't really make sense. Did he trick people into thinking that he performed miracles? But that doesn't really make sense either because he did it continuously over and over again. So there's already a hole in that argument. But then Jesus dies. He's crucified and he rises from the dead and he appears to people. How did he do that? Does that make any sense? Not really, right? I mean, if he died and he rose from the dead and people saw him, there's not really much of an explanation for that, right? Because one person can hallucinate. 500 people can't all see the same hallucination. So that is also another hole in their argument. But then, even crazier is that his apostles all died for him. I believe at least 11 of his apostles died for him. So do you really believe that this psychopath, crazy, insane guy who was stupid and claimed to be God, did he really give all those ethical teachings that people had never heard before and were the most profound thing that they had ever heard? Did he really die and resurrect, based on like him pulling a magic trick and convince all these people through some kind of sorcery or hallucination or drug trip? And then how did he convince these apostles to die for him because they were so convinced? Was that just luck, right? When you really take all these factors into account, it almost just seems obvious, like, I guess he was the Son of God. Like, even though that's not something that really makes sense in my brain, there's no other explanation. If you believe the historical evidence, there's no other logical conclusion that you can come to when you truly read the text and understand what Jesus is saying. So if you have, if you're an atheist or if you're an agnostic, that's something to think about. And if you have an atheist or agnostic friend or family member and you're trying to talk to them about Jesus, tell them about this argument. I think it's very interesting.